Okay, we're going live with Plane in Traffic. Your hosts, Ray Guarino. Louis Lee is in the wings. He's having a little bit of audio problems. He'll be here in a second. And we're going to talk about how to sell a car online. Probably how to buy one too, because it goes both ways. I was just dealing with that today with a motorcycle. And there are different strategies. People have different thoughts about how to do this. Of course, the online methods are always the ones people go to first. Of course, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and depending where you are, some are in vogue, some fall out of vogue. I don't know. I really haven't used either of them. I need to, because I need to sell not a car. I need to sell a lot of parts. But we're going to talk about that tonight, and we'll see what your thoughts are too. So you could, if you're out there in the ether, chime in. That reminds me, I have to send a link to somebody. Except I don't see the thing now to send a link. This is great. Well, we had technological problems here tonight. Things aren't working as well as they should have. But on the topic of buying, I just kind of went through this with a good friend, and it's to say buyer beware is an understatement. Because people either don't know how to represent a car correctly, or if they do, they also know how to represent it wrongly to get you to come look at it. And it really is, it behooves you. I just gave a talk at a local car club meeting about this, because one of the things I do is pre-purchase inspections for cars. Company that I do work for calls me and says, hey, there's a guy near you, whatever town, and he's selling X car, whatever it is. And I've looked at everything from Porsches to Rios to Rolls Royces to coffee trucks. So the vehicle's for sale. The buyer's out of state or maybe out of the country, and they would like you to go and do a full report, which is 6 pages, 170 or so photos, and really go over that car. And, so the report can come back and they can decide whether or not that's what they want to purchase. There's been times where I felt that literally the prospective buyer just wanted to have somebody go there and see that the car existed before he spent X amount of, sometimes $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, that it wasn't a scam, that the car did exist. It wasn't just an internet hoax. Because the reason I gave the talk at the car club meeting was that 2 of the members had been fleeced like that. They had bought cars and didn't have them inspected, did not have somebody go to make sure the car was in fact there and was in fact what it was represented to be. And both of these people got, I think between the 2 of them, they were out about 80 grand. And kind of hurt, kind of hurt a lot, because both of these cases are now in with the local police. And in one case, the guy who was selling he's a ghost. He's in the wind. The guy just disappeared. They kind of pull up stakes and they're gone. Their online presence is gone. Of course, they didn't give you a home address or a good phone number anyway. So that's all bogus. And the other one, they are trying to do. I don't know what they're doing on their end. I don't know. They wouldn't tell me what the process entails. But I think they're probably going to try and set the guy up in another bogus sale, and then and then pinch him. But the fact remains, and the big fact that the club president wanted me to get across was, hey, if you call a company, it doesn't have to be the one I work for. There's others. There's others out there, or it could just be a matter of calling a friend that who lives in that area. Go look at the car, make sure that it does exist, that it is, the year, make, and model that it was claimed to be, and and then give it a look over, and that you can go to any lanes past that that people are comfortable with. In the case of what I do, it's very comprehensive. Like I said, it's a 6-page report that covers everything from overview to body gaps, weather stripping, glass, and anything mechanical, all the mechanical stuff, engine. They want to know about leaks, transmission, um, from everything from how it looks. The report also mandates a test drive. So, do the brakes work? Do the brakes pull? If so, which way? To the right, to the left? When they're cold, when they're hot? Does it go away? They have you answer all of these questions. Does the car perform as it should? Does it, take off? Does it hesitate? When? What RPM? Low RPM, high RPM? All these things. So now the buyer, can take all this information, process it, and say, okay, well, you know what? The car looks exactly like I wanted it to look. The inspector said the paint was great. The gaps are good. That's really what I'm really, really concerned with. I don't really care about the mechanical stuff as much because that's what I do, and I can fix that stuff up. Maybe I'll use that as a bargaining point, to get the price down a little bit. And there's other guys who are going to say, hey, I want to make sure that engine transmission is top shelf because I can't work on them. And whatever. So that's why you hire a company to do that. Louis, I see we have you in the house. Are you now hearing and seeing and everything is good on your end? All right, good.
Yeah, my speaker is bad, and I have the computer synced up to the TV, and for some reason, the volume not going through the TV. So I had to go grab a speaker and hook it up. So now I'm back.
You see, this is the thing. It's just like a car inspection. You fall into the category, in my eyes, of Mr. Technology. I have other friends that are like that. And don't get me wrong, I like technology too, and I like to do stuff like that. Way back in the 80s, I had my hi-fi VCR, and I piped it through. I had a stupid RCA 25-inch TV, but I had the VCR piped through my stereo system so I could hear the movies. It was kind of like in a faux surround sound. Yeah. So I like doing that stuff, but I found out that you get bit more times than not.
Yeah,
when stuff doesn't work. So it's good.
Well, last week I put it on the TV, and I went straight to wherever I went, and it cut the volume on. So today it just didn't do it. I don't know what's the problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yep.
But all right. Well, it's good to have you back.
So I missed what you were saying. I'm sure you were throwing out good knowledge because you're the guy.
Well, I was just talking about. I really went into the the pre-purchase inspection thing, which, as you know, that's a side gig that I do now, and how it is important. Sometimes people just want to see that there's a car that literally exists because they just don't trust. Like I've had a couple cases where the people were in Canada, and they literally, a guy was looking to spend $60,000 on this car, and we had the feeling he really just wanted to see. Like we thought he already made his mind up about the car. He just wanted to have someone tell him that yes, it really is there. It's not a fake. And I just told a story about how two guys that in a club that I went to were bit like that. One guy did send money, and the car didn't exist. And then you call the seller is up in the wind. He's gone.
Right.
You have no recourse at that point. You're screwed.
Yeah. So when eBay was real popular back, I want to say, we try to put a time period on it. Probably, I think I was still repoing, so it was around 01, 02.
Right.
And one of my buddies had a van, and he wanted to sell it online on eBay. So I posted it for him, and somebody from Africa wanted to buy it.
Right.
So this stuff was pretty new. I think eBay Motors were really just getting ramped up. So he said, I'm going to send you a check, and you can get the check, deposit it. When it clears, I'll send the transport guy over, and then you can pay the transport guy.
Right.
I was like, okay. So I get the check, I deposit it, and I wait a couple days. Or no, like as soon as I deposit the check, the transport company calls me. He says, hey, I'm close to you. I'm going to come pick up the van. And I was like, well, the check didn't clear yet. So he goes, oh, man, I really got to pick this van up, blah, blah, blah. So I called the bank, and they said, oh, this check's bad. No good check.
Right.
So if I would have let the guy talk me into giving him the van, he'd have been gone with it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Then I would have been owing the guy, my buddy, money for the van. And that's how they get you. They rush you. You know, they oh man, I'm here in town.
Right.
Can you help me out?
And they appeal to your sense of camaraderie and brotherhood and all that.
Yep.
You know, I told a story here in the past. I'll repeat it because it was worth repeating. We had a fellow who was a car appraiser in our area here on Long Island. Great guy. He since has passed away, unfortunately. But he had dealings. He would go all over the country appraising cars for a fee. And he even went over to the Middle East a couple times. He went to Kuwait and Qatar and, and looked at cars. A lot of our cars went over there, in fact. So he came into the studio one day to the radio show. And what he was going to talk about was what's the best way to pay for the purchase you make online. And we all had our predisposed thoughts. So he started to talk about it, and then he pulled out a manila envelope and took out cash, money order, personal check, bank check, third-party check. I don't even remember everything he pulled out. He pulled out, all these ways of paying for something. And he said, okay, he passed the stuff around. He said, look at this stuff. Look at all these methods. And by looking at them, and these had been canceled checks, they've gone through the bank and all. He says, tell me which ones of these you think are real and which ones are fake. And, neither one of us are forensic, money guys. So they all look real, even the cash. And he said, well, every single one of them's fake. The cash is counterfeit. Every other check you see in here is bad, bogus, counterfeit. The reason I have them is because the bank kicked them back. And as part of his forensic investigation, he got the stuff as evidence. Right. So he said, and he said, I always thought that a bank check would be as good as gold. And that was my gold standard. He says, I've changed my mind. He says, right now, I'm here to tell you the only way you should pay for a car or anything substantial online is through a bank transfer. And meaning bank to bank. And he said, because you take out all the middlemen, the scammers are out of it. You're sitting in a bank office and they're doing the transfer. And then you may remember, I told a story when I paid my house off 2 years ago. I was sitting in my bank branch and I said, okay, I want to make the final payment, pay the house off. So he said, okay, give me the bank's information, the loan, company information, gave him all that. I authorized him withdrawing the money from my account, sending it. And he says, okay, it's all been sent. And we're sitting, I'm looking at him, I'm like, well, that's it. He goes, what else do you want? I'm like, how about a receipt? I was like, dude, I just gave you $30,000, $40,000. How about a receipt? He goes, oh, well, there is no receipt. He goes, it went from our bank to theirs. He goes, and you should get it. You should get notification within 3 to 4 hours from them that they have receipt of it and it's done. And I said, wait a minute. This is 2022. A bank transfer is pretty much immediate. It's your account to theirs. Why can't I get an immediate? You can sell people money and immediately that it went. I said, why can't you? He says, that's just the way it works. And I said, man, I don't like that. So for like 3 or 4 hours, my wife and I had to sit around wondering if we just sent like 40 grand off into the ether, or was it gonna, and then of course, we did get I got an email from the bank, from the institution saying, yes, money's been transferred, the account has been satisfied. But I tell you, for 4 hours, I was a little, I was a little on edge like that. So, but he said the only way to do that he recommends is a bank transfer because, like I said, it takes out the middlemen. And
I know when PayPal was owned by eBay, they kind of backed it up a lot. I've had a couple scams where they backed it. It wasn't a big purchase like a car, but for other things, PayPal will get your money back pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, again, they were in in the business of banking, so they It's their reputation on the line, and they're owned by a bank somewhere. So yeah,
Right.
I had good dealings with PayPal as well.
But I'm not sure now because I don't think eBay owns it anymore.
I heard that they don't. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
The way things trade hands these days, I don't know. I don't know don't know what the hell what is what anymore.
Right.
But
So that's a tip is to pay somebody in that town, or if it's in your town, to have it inspected. Like you said, it's worth $100 or $150 to have it done.
well, yeah, that's why I said if you know somebody who can go look at it, a friend or whatever, do that. Like there's agencies like the company that I do work for who is more official, and you pay them, and then they pay their inspector, me,
Right.
to go out and do it. A good friend of mine who's a retired New York City auto crimes detective. Now he worked his career doing auto crimes, so he knows the scams. He knows all the stuff. He was looking to buy a car years ago, and it was up in Manitoba, and in Canada, and he had a lot of conversation with the owner, emails back and forth. The guy sent him photos. He shot a live video, of the car, and my buddy still, when it was time, took a flight to Manitoba and got out of that airplane in minus 40-degree weather and went to look at this car to make sure that it was there and that it was as described. That might have been a little overboard, but it was, and he ended up buying it. Now since then he's sold it already, but he wasn't gonna get bit. So
right. Now when I had my transport company, I had a service, car locating service. So a couple high-end guys would have me go do condition reports and photos, and even I did was it a Dodge or what was it, a Viper, Dodge Viper.
Oh yeah.
So I went and did one on that, and I even negotiated the price down, tried to get the guy at a better price, which I ended up getting a pretty good price for it, and I shipped it. So I got paid to go inspect it, photos,
right,
and to ship it.
You made it both ways.
Yeah, yep.
That's nice.
And I really was going to start getting into that, but then 08 hit, and then the economy went sideways. So
yeah,
that was into that. But I would love to do that, do something like that again, because it's a cheap, not cheap, but it's a low overhead job. You have a plane ticket, a rental car. Now you got digital phone cameras. You don't have to have equipment. It's a pretty good gig.
Sure.
Or it could be.
Yeah, no, that is good. If you can cover both ends of it, that's very good.
Yeah, and then when I was hauling the high end cars, those are the guys that really pay for that kind of service.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, you're spending over $100,000 on a car. What's a couple $100? To make sure that it's right, that it's there, that it's what it's supposed to be, and because I've seen pictures, I've seen a lot of pictures that did not represent what you saw in person.
Yeah.
Pictures can hide a lot of stuff. Pictures can bring out a lot of flaws if you take them right, but pictures can also hide a lot of flaws if you take them right. So, again, like I said, it's buyer beware right from the start. It really is.
Now, you were saying there's other companies that do this kind of work as well.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure it's pretty easy to find the reputable company online. All around the country, probably companies do it all over.
I guess if you let me see, if you search, I'm going to do it right now. Pre-purchase inspection, pre-purchase auto inspection company. Let's see what I find. Okay, let's see. Lemon Squad. Yeah, and someone mentioned to me Lemon Squad. That's one that's very popular. Here, let's see. Right by me, I got Future Star Daycare. That's the number one hit. All right, Long Island City Car Inspection, Shell, Punjab Auto Inspections. Some of these could be that. No, some of these might be insurance inspection when you have to, when you get a car, you buy a new car and you have to get it inspected for insurance. But yeah, pre-sale inspection, automotive. Yeah, that's the company I work for, right there, number 2, right under Lemon Squad. Another one, on-call inspections. Let's see. Oh, VIN checkup. Then I have the top 10 best pre-purchase car inspections in New York. That's on Yelp. So yeah, they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we have a mutual friend that started or he's building an app for car inspection where it's going to be like an Uber where you join up and then you might get a call at any time to go inspect one in your area.
Right.
So I haven't heard he's been real busy, so I haven't heard any new info on that.
Okay.
But it should be coming up pretty soon.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And actually, the guy that I was telling you about that went and bought that car in Manitoba, he had been doing this for a number of years. And it's a side gig. It's like you don't make a lot of money. It's not gonna, and there's not enough of them to keep you busy, like every day of the week.
Right.
I mean, I kind of average maybe one a month. Like last month, I did 3. It was still in July. This month I did 3, but I haven't done any since the beginning of the month. Right. So you can't count on it. It's not like it's income that you could say, all right, I know I'm going to make X amount of dollars this month doing that. I don't know. So it truly is just a side thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
Maybe other companies are better. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hustle like everything else. But
right.
It really helps people, especially older people that can't, travel or get around. I think it'll be a good service for them.
Yeah, in the case I just talked about it a couple of weeks ago, I did this Porsche, a 2009 Porsche, and the interesting thing was that was the one that I said had been in California, bounced around a little. Was Carfax showed it as a total, so that car would be an $80,000 total. That's what it would take to total that car. And a month later, and it had a salvage title. Then a month later, it shows up in a dealership in California having a regular service done to it. The car couldn't have been fixed in a month, not at $80,000 worth of total. So something was wrong, and that's what the buyer wanted to see. Is this car? Are there signs that it was totaled? And they gave me very, very specific. So they always give me like a cover letter. So very, very specific places to look, what to look under, to see if there was damage in these specific places and paint, paint match and all. And I couldn't find it. I just didn't find it. And then I find out that the guy who was selling the car, had been a Supreme Court judge. I mean, this guy he's been through all the different courts. He's a high-powered lawyer, and he's telling me how he's had 100 cars. He says, I can't afford to, play games when I sell them. Everything is legit. I believe the guy.
Yeah,
he's the best. The best fibber in the world. But I definitely believe him. I said, yeah, something was wrong. Cool.
All right. Well, we're at the half-hour mark, so we'll get the fellas in. But first, I'm going to throw my spill out. So everybody in the chat room or anybody listening to this after the show replay, please go check out our website, planandtraffic.com, and you can see what we're doing or what we're going to be doing. And you can buy some of our merch, like my hat I'm wearing, camouflage.
Yeah.
So if you want a hat, go check us out. We got shirts, t-shirts, all that good stuff. But and also we are on PowerTube TV. So if you can download their app, and you can see our previous shows. I'm putting on all the greatest hits from before.
Oh,
so
nice.
You can go check out some of our greatest hits. And, subscribe to our channel. All the good stuff. Ring the bell.
Right.
And that will help us out a lot on the channel. And that lets us know that you like our content and we can keep on pushing it and doing doing other stuff for you. And now we are going to get the fellas in, see what they're talking about, because they have knowledge as well.
Justin.
You said they have knowledge, and then you pull me up. I don't know what you're doing.
I know, and Brian. So,
Hey.
all right, listen. Well, so now that we got the guys, let me tell you something, Lewis. I got some news for you.
Okay.
We made history on this channel last week.
Uh-oh.
History.
How long were you on?
Nope, it wasn't that. It was after you left, and after you left, and I signed off, and it just so happened that the Republican National Convention was on, and Brian, myself, and Isaac were interested in what was going on. So we all turned our TVs on, and we just sat and watched TV together.
Yeah.
Brian made and passed the popcorn around, and we found out that Isaac is a solid minute behind us on the feed. So we heard stuff that they were talking about, and we would tease them. And be like, what's that? Like, don't worry, you'll hear it, but it'll take you a minute. So history is we had a kumbaya. We all watched TV together on Plane in Traffic.
That's great. Before you had to, go to your buddy's house, but here we could be anywhere in the country and get together and watch it. That's pretty cool.
I didn't have to worry about Brian hogging the arm on the couch or nothing, or knocking me over, or sitting on me. It was great. We just we had our own chairs. It was cool. So so we made history last week for whatever small amount of whatever that means. I don't know. But it was cool.
That's cool. I'm glad you guys have a good time.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. But like you said, though, Ray, in buying a car and selling a car, you have to really have your standards on, like, picture taking, and have more. I always find it fascinating when you go look at or see a car for sale, and there's like 3 pictures and it says it's excellent.
Right.
Or it's perfect, and Ray's come across it where, he gets the car finally in, he put it up, and everything's been spray painted, a certain color to make it look new or whatever. So even the pictures can be, just because what you see isn't what you're really getting. And
that's what I was saying. The pictures can be very good, and they can be very deceiving.
Yeah, and it's funny. It was, and like I said, people. Ray called me on, the Porsche. He's called me on Mustangs. I know those numbers. It was really funny because this was years ago. My wife, before we had gotten married, when we were dating, she had babysit this couple's. She was babysitting this couple, and I went over, and the guy was all excited because he had bought a Mustang convertible, a 65, and he was saying, "Oh, it's a GT, and it's this and that," and he gets it was a beautiful car, and he opened the hood up, and I go right over to the VIN number, and I'm getting ready to bust his bubble, and Jenny had put her hands on, like her hand on my arm, and said, "Don't say a word." And I was like, well, this guy spent, and this was in the heyday of, where everybody was getting really top dollars for non-stuff,
Yeah.
and even fakes, or if he even knew. And, he wasn't a car guy. And especially today, it's so easy because all you got to do is Google something, and you can cipher through some of the stuff and get some kind of knowledge before you really jump into something and get yourself in trouble.
Well, you just touched on a key point. And like you said, when I got in touch with you about certain cars, it's using your network of people. You know more about those cars than I do. So why the hell wouldn't I ask you, to give me a little heads up or something? Teach me something I don't know. Tell me something to look for. The guys that think they know it all, they probably know a lot, but I guarantee you they don't know it all.
Well, it was always funny because when I was at the dealership, I did a lot of pre-inspections on the Porsches, and it was always funny because the guy would, bring the car up underneath the tarmac, and he's like looking, And I would walk right by everything and go right to the back of the car. And he's like, why are you looking back here for? And I'm like, well, these cars have a typical spinning around on you because of all the weight in the back with the motor.
Right.
And, you know, that's where you would, you know, you normally look first to see what kind of damage, because there's usually not too much up front. It's usually all in the back because, like I said, the way those cars are. And, you know, he's digging around in the front thinking, you know, of an accident. Of course, I know you can run into somebody or run into anything, but
you know, I'll tell you the converse to that. When I first started hanging around, you know, working for these guys that own a body shop, even though I don't do body work, I learned a lot of stuff, and I'm watching them adjust cars. And my friend, I have a friend who's a forensic adjuster. He does the stuff when the insurance companies smell a rat, they send him out, and he's a pit bull. And he taught me this too. He says, you know, the car, they said the car was hit, you know, in the back. And of course the back is got all this damage. So he goes, I go right to the front of the car. I was like, really? He goes, yep, open hood. I look right in the front. What he's looking for, he goes, 9 times out of 10, when a modern car gets hit in the back hard enough, the radiator is going to get impacted. The motor's going to shift. He goes, they're just not built strong enough. He goes, there's always a front impact, unless you know, if it was big enough to have an insurance claim over. He says, so I go right to the front, and the guy's looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? He says, I'm just looking. You know, and if he sees everything up front is pristine, he knows that the hit. Now the damage, if the damage is worse than what they said the speed of the hit was, now he knows it's probably doctored. The damage was doctored, but he knows that there's a rat. Then he starts going into the black box, and he'll find out what happened. But just like you said, you go to the back, he goes to the front, and he has 80% of his information before he does anything else.
Right. Well, like you said, that really that's on a lot of those cars, or those certain cars.
Brilliant.
And like I said, you know, if you know, like I said, especially if you knew somebody that had one of those cars or had a couple of those cars, you know, like I said, and you were going to buy something, you know, you ask that question to that person. If he's had 4 or 5 G-body cars or whatever, that at least, you know, they have ideas or areas of where there's issues or problems or whatever. So
right.
That's always important. The representation is really hard. And, you know, when you, especially, I've seen it, and I know you've seen it, Ray, and I'm sure Slingshot's seen it too. You know, somebody's paid a lot of money for having a hot rod done, and you're like, man, this is a real mess.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin, introduce us to our newest inspector here in the show.
This is my little one. Her name is Riley.
Hey, Riley, how you doing?
Riley.
She'd come out,
Staying out
hang
of
out in the
trouble?
garage. Well, no. Come on.
Good.
This is my wild child.
Okay.
My boy, he's a little more calm and calculated. This is the one that's going to keep me up at night.
Yep. Oh, just wait till high school.
I know. That's the problem. Yeah. She's a sweetie.
Yeah. That's great.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, we've seen a few come in that were. We had a Cutlass one time that was fresh paint, fresh interior, new top, and literally the car was junk. It was unsafe. It shouldn't have been on the road.
I mean, I've told a couple of those stories with the cars that I worked on, the Mustangs, that the eBay Mustang that, you know, the guy paid a lot of money for, that looked great in the pictures. Perfect example. It looked great on the pictures. And when I looked at it on the lift, I was like, damn, all the stuff was painted and all this other stuff was just disintegrated, and the brakes were unsafe. And it's like that they sold this car to a guy like that and sent it out with a clear conscience.
Yeah, this Cutlass literally, like, I didn't have to unbolt the seat. I just pushed it, and the brackets rusted out of the floor.
Wow.
And like, and that wouldn't have held him in. So if he'd have hit something, he would have just pushed the windshield frame forward. Like he wouldn't have went through it. He just pushed it forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, fresh car.
Yeah, That's
You know,
insane.
There's also some good stories too. One of my buddies bought a 70 or 71 Monte Carlo on eBay, sight unseen, and this car is beautiful. I mean, he didn't have to touch it; he just had to wipe it off and drive it. It was a beautiful car.
You got lucky.
Yeah, he got lucky. Yep. I can't believe
Yeah,
he did it.
you know, not everybody's a crook.
Yeah, I
Right.
can't believe he did it because he's kind of a nervous type of dude. So
Right.
yeah, he bought it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Not everybody, and like I said, unfortunately, I think some of it, you know, there's always the, you know, it was like back in the day when we used to look in the Sunday newspaper and the classifieds, and you know, in your area, you'd see that there was 725, you know, 69 RS SS. Camaros for sale, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, there can't be 700 of them in the state of America like that, you know, for sale. I mean, they just didn't make that many of them, and you know, everybody's trying to pass something on for what they, you know, really don't have, and that's usually where you get yourself in trouble.
True. You know, I've actually screwed myself over the years because I'm too honest. And I had once, you know, I told this guy I think I accentuated the negatives more than the positives, just so he knew, you know, what had to be done. And it was an honest sale. And the guy didn't buy the car. And I caught up with him a few months later. He bought something else. And man, was he pissed. He got taken, you know, by a car that they just said was better than it was. And he says, I wish I would have bought your car. I said, it's still for sale. He goes, oh, well, now I tied the money up and now I'm, you know. I said, no. I said, look, I try to be as honest to a fault, you know. And I said, and I am. I said, because I don't want anybody coming back at me, you know, with those accusations. So I said, there's a lesson to be learned there.
Yeah, you don't need that black Tahoe driving behind you.
And no. No.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. And unfortunately, it's hard because especially when you know, when you start seeing so many, or if you don't really keep a good ledger or notebook, if you're starting to look at a lot of them to get an idea, you don't want to get things confused or mixed up. And,
okay, I got a question. Let's throw out any cars that you might have bought that was a mistake, or you found out later it was really bad, or you know, something like that. I got a story.
I've gotten what I've wanted. You know.
Yeah, I don't have any. I mean,
I'm sorry, Ray. I mean, the only thing is, I like as a story of driving my father crazy because,
well, yeah,
you know, when I was buying my first car, and it was like, we're going, you know, we drove all the way out to Timbuktu to go look at an AMX 69 AMX drag pack car, you know, and this and that, and you know, the only one that probably, well, there's two of them that I really should have acted like a 5-year-old and had a temper tantrum to get, because one of them was a 65 Shelby. Right. Honest to God, I crawled all over that car, got every number, went and did. And of course, this guy had just moved into an apartment complex, and somebody had stolen the wheels off the car. Okay. And you know, my dad was like, "We're looking for a car that you could drive." And I said, "Well, I can get wheels. I mean, come on." And of course, the guy called like a week later and said, "Please come get this car," you know, because now somebody stole the intake off of it, you know. And my dad was like, "It's just a car. Let's go find." And of course, you know, 30 years later, he's sitting on the couch and where I have Barrett Jackson on, and here comes rolling across the stage, and my dad looked at me and I said, "Don't say a word," you know. And yeah, those are those stories where, but I was into looking at everything and checking to see if they were real or not, type thing, you know, being informed. And some people just aren't, you know, they don't, or it's hard for them to be informed, or they just take somebody's word and then they get
Right.
taken. So, but like I said, anything and everything I've ever bought, I knew what I was getting into.
Well,
Unlike that guy right there, Terry.
Well, Terry just likes, Terry's new. He's whatever, I rumor had it where he's just like quitting his job. He's just going to become a metal man now. He's going to be a heavy man.
Oh, I
all
don't
he's
know,
doing is
but
changing
anything with
freaking
Terry,
body
if he
count.
doesn't like it, he'll just make it to it. I mean, he's the guy that we got to watch out for.
I give him a
He
lot
doesn't
of
like
credit.
this here CUDA. Oh, we'll just make it this year CUDA. I mean,
I'll make
he
it
just
into a
buys all the parts.
Maverick. Just wait. Next week it'll be a Maverick. Don't
I
worry.
know. I know how this guy operates.
Yeah. I've got his number.
I miss you guys too.
He's gonna have to play smooth operator when he has his next little sing along.
That's right.
Nothing but a smooth operator.
Jet setting around the world. I don't know. Now he's getting airplane tickets comped to him and all this stuff. This is great.
No, that's
Going
awesome.
all
Yeah,
over the world
superstar.
on someone else's dime,
Superstar.
man. I tell you. Well, the rumors have it, at least.
The rumors have it. Yeah,
That's the
how's
word on the
everyone
streets.
Right.
doing? I miss you guys. How's everyone doing?
Another day of
Really,
fun.
he even sounds hoarse, man. You talking too much or what? Singing?
Something like that. I
Something
got the
like
little
that.
man over here playing his little video games. He should be in bed.
Uh-huh.
Hey, it's summertime.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's got a camp, so he gets up. He gets up at like 9 o'clock.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, let him stay up. Let him stay up.
So Terry, our topic tonight is buying, or what was it? How to say it?
Was it how to buy or how to sell a car? A used
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to.
Well, you know me. I like him a little crispy.
Yeah.
I was thinking about any cars that I might have bought on mistake or anything. I don't have any because I grew up kind of cheap and poor, so anything I went and bought was raggedy, and I had to fix it. So
You
I
know,
wasn't
Lewis,
surprised,
I
you know
will
what I mean?
agree.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the beginning part of my automotive career, from like 14 years old up, my first car, I had to put a motor in it. It's like if
Mhm.
I didn't buy anything that ran for probably the first 15 or 20 years I was driving, everything was like a project or I had to take the motor out of another car to put in that so I could drive it. And that happened overnight or in a weekend. It was like, that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. I come from that same school.
My
I
first
was
car
lucky if
had.
it looked halfway decent.
Yeah, my first car, the body and stuff was clean, but it had a cracked frame.
Hmm.
So
Oh, wow.
I drove home from the dealer and it was driving sideways. I'm like this driving down the street.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I hit the brakes, it would straighten up. I take off, it goes sideways. So when I come to a stop, whoop.
Wow.
So that was my first car. Yeah, we had to get the frame done, and then it was on after that. That's the car I learned to work on, and
What car was that, by the way?
that was a '73 Cutlass.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you a funny story.
Not a bad car.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
I'm working on a 70 442 right now at the shop.
Mhm.
And the guy's had this car for about 30 years. It's in very good shape. So it hasn't been abused. It's been street raced a lot back in the day, but it hasn't been abused. So I had to change the transmission mount. So unbolted the cross member and I just shoved it forward. Didn't even take it out of the chassis, and took the mount out. Of course, I posted this last week. The new mount they sent to me was spaced wrong, so you couldn't bolt it in. It wouldn't fit. So we got the right one. More parts problems, right? I bolt it to the transmission. I bring the cross member back. I make sure the bolts go into the mount. I leave them loose. And then I look, and the holes are not lining up on either side where the cross member goes into the frame. I'm like, I just unbolted this like the other day. So I got one side to line up. I used my alignment tool and got the hole straight, dropped the bolts in. So now 4 of the 6 bolts are in. The right side of the car, the bolt holes were off by about 1/8 of an inch. I was like, did somebody bend this car while it was on the lift? Like, what the hell happened? I had to literally pry that thing into place. I think what happened somewhere along the line is he must have maybe ran up on a curb or something and damaged the bottom lip of that frame where it comes around the channel. Because once I pried it into place and got the bolts in, I had to drill one hole, little, clearance it a little. Then everything was happy. But I was like, man, you never know. You can't just do something simple like change the mount without
Right.
having to like re-engineer something.
So by you saying that, think about how strong those mounts are to hold the body together until you take it loose.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? So that brace was holding it until you took the bolts out.
that's right. So he probably did something years ago that that twisted something, and when it was all together, it just stayed in place. But you unbolt it and it goes, just relieves itself a little.
Yep.
Now you got to get it back in. So it's
That's why
always fun.
Think about this too. Some people don't put them back in because they can't get them back into place.
Oh, I know.
So
I know.
So you,
Well, that happens to be one of my faults when I work on a car or when I work on anything. I like to get everything back in. I don't like to have extra parts.
Yeah.
I like to make sure all the clips and pins and whatever are back where they belong. Sometimes you can, but most
it
times
gets really frustrating not being able to get something back together.
right.
And you just took it apart. And you're like, man, what is going on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Your mic's off, Terry.
Now Jim is like, "Where's my hat?" I said, "I got them for everyone. I just forgot to send it." I got them for everyone. Everyone gets a QA1 hat. Casey made good.
I tell you, I'm just happy I got my QA1 shocks. I love those damn things.
Don't you love them?
Oh yeah,
Mm.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
One
I
day.
put those on the Chevy
And
truck.
they're rebuildable, which is very nice.
Oh yeah. We'll
There's
put some
a
on the Lincoln one day.
there's a question in the chat. It says, "How come mechanics do not offer a service to inspect cars out of state on eBay?"
Some do. Some mechanics, some shops will inspect for you if you're out of state. I'm trying to think of one here locally.
Well, a shop is one thing, but I know, like, the company that I do work for, they're in Connecticut. So, and they have people all over the country, all over. Because they just contacted me last week. They said their North Carolina inspector wanted to have a car looked at. Would I look at it? And I said, yeah. And then I guess it fell through because they never sent me the information.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I think they know you can't just be in one state. There's people buy all over the place.
Right. Especially now the internet opened up the world.
Oh, sure.
Back in the day, you only had the newspaper or the auto trader or
Right.
Mhm.
We got the old
we
auto and
had-
RV.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had one ad press. I know
Yeah.
Ray knows that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And bylines.
We used to have
Yeah.
the was it
He
the
asked
auto and
about
RV
the
for
auctions.
Who's that, Justin?
so we used to have the auto and RV you could get at the gas station for free.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Turn right
yeah.
to the classics hot rods and racing section, which has
Right,
gotten really
right,
small lately.
Yeah.
and that was only in a probably 50 miles radius, maybe 100 miles.
Well,
Yeah,
it
we
used
had-
to be.
Yeah, we
They,
used to
uh,
also have the penny saver. Little
Penny
small
saver.
for the car, yeah, the
Penny
penny saver.
I used to like it when I went to English Town. You would pick up the drag times news, and they would have all the like race cars and then all the real high performance stuff in there.
Yep.
And the guy being at the track next week, so you just meet him there. Dude, bring it with you. Meet you in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Same way with junkyards. That was the only place you can get used parts. I mean,
And boy,
if you didn't
now
find it in a
use them
junkyard,
all-
you were in trouble.
I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many brake drums and spindles and stuff I bought out of local junkyards back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the guy I got to know the guy personally. I
Yep.
get to know who you are.
We take it for granted now, man, because you can go online and find a used part anywhere.
Now I can't even get the right part when I order it from the parts store.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, no, you cannot.
Oof. Killer.
And you're lucky, like I said, even if you order something, you're lucky if it hasn't been, boogered up so bad that it's unbelievable. You're I think you had the problem, Ray. I had a shop just had that. They ordered motor mounts and they had standard threads in it instead of metric, and the guy's just, you know, he gets to the point where he's so frustrated. Instead of just taking a moment, of course, he's been fighting this thing in. He's got the motor half hanging, suspension. He wedges in the motor mount, and then it's like can't get it started. So what do? We grab the half-inch impact with the reducer, and just why use Loctite when you can cross-thread it and hope it tightens up so it doesn't break, you know?
Yeah.
And, it's just insane.
I did have that happen on my car. Like I said, I told the story last week. I went and bought a set of used motor mounts and put those in. That's why when his tranny mount failed, I was smart enough to check that the bolts, the threaded part was American. I'm like, good. I'm ahead of the game. I was smart. I checked it. But I didn't check to make sure that the bolts lined up on the tranny, and they didn't. So,
and it's funny because even like some of the cars today, you know, most of the stuff is, you know, metric, but every once in a while you still come across the one thing where it's standard. And you know, it's funny because I get guys will say, I can't find a wrench to fit this or a socket. And it's like, well, did you try a standard size? And he goes, why would that be? This is a 2020 car or 2024 or whatever. And then I always get the text back, hey, a 3/8 fit on it.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, Brian, I found another reason why there's a tool that I wanted to buy that I've been dragging my heels on. It's those extensions that have the little wobble socket attached to them. Man, it's definitely on my wish list. I could have used them on this car a couple times because just sometimes when you don't want to have to use, you know, a flex joint with the socket,
Right.
you want it all one piece so it can't fall apart. That would have been. I was like, damn, why didn't I buy those freaking things?
Your torque
tool
adapters, are on this month's sale flyer.
Oh, yeah, are they?
Yeah. I know.
And you're all going to use that for? I wasn't going to use it as a torque adapter. I needed to use it as a distributor wrench.
Yeah. That's what that's what I use mine for. But I mean, they're 2.5 inches or whatever, and just sometimes it just gives you enough clearance to.
Yeah.
I used them for motor mounts on the 944s because it just fit right in and gave you enough clearance, and you didn't have any issues. But
And now
that's
the
what they're
problem
called.
is-
That's why you couldn't find them when you were looking.
And now the problem is, well, shit, do you buy the American ones or the metric ones? I'm probably going to need them both.
Oh, come on. A man of your talent, charms, and good looks, just like that Terry guy, just buy them all, man.
Yeah, buy them all.
I'm all. Yeah. Have a set for your other garage too.
Well, that's the problem. I got my garage here and I got the garage at the shop. So I'm always bringing stuff. Terry, I have bags, Harbor Freight bags. I got Milwaukee bags. Brian sent me a bag. He sent me a Milwaukee bag. And today I'm like a pack mule. I got bags full of tools and equipment that's going from here to there to here. Manuals under my arm, bottle of water.
I feel you. Ask Lewis when I come up to Ohio. I got my truck is full, packed up. Because I mean, it's as cool as it is to use other people's tools, but you know, I got to use my own. You know,
No, I agree. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Especially when there's that one thing, you know, the one thing that you love, your 3/8 1/4-inch body ratchet.
one
you know,
of them,
when you go to try to use another ratchet, and you're like, man, this is either too. It just doesn't feel right. But
Feels like you're cheating. You're
I
used that one today, in fact.
I was just thinking I need one of those.
Yeah.
You do. Now the
Yep.
question is, which length? Because you need, you know, like I have one of every length.
yeah.
Stop playing this game, David.
Yeah, I had a problem with a guy last week or the week. I made one for him, and then he came out the next week, and he's like, "Could you make me one? But instead of the 6-inch, could you do one with the 9-inch? You know?" And next thing you know, I was like, "Well, next week he'll ask for the 12-inch one." You know,
Just have it.
so
But Ray, like you said, which one do you take? Because you have one of each size. That's why usually when somebody asks me to look at their car, I say, hey, can you get it to my house?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it never fails. If you go somewhere else, you forgot something.
Yep.
Yes, that's the problem. I mean, my case and Terry's case is a little different. We're working in someone else's shop.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and although I have a full set of tools at the shop, and believe me, you know, in the beginning, it was kind of a sketchy thing. But now I needed, you know, certain socket sets and wrenches, and I had all of it at home, and I wasn't going to take it from home to leave there because I needed it at home. So I bought doubles.
Yeah.
And I tell you, man, I spent thousands of dollars in doubles, you know?
Yeah.
And now when I bring that box back, I'll have doubles and triples of some of the stuff.
Well, I got a lot of doubles because I can't find one tool and I got to go buy it again. So I got doubles too.
I actually made history this week.
10 millimeters.
I know I rave about this all the time, and it's something I'm very proud of, but that I don't break tools. But I broke a socket. A 3/8 drive, 5/8 impact socket. And I was putting those tranny bolts, the motor mount bolt, the tranny mount bolts up on the old, and I had it on my 3/8 drive battery powered gun, and I sent the first one up and it tightened. I sent the second one up and it started to tighten and then it slipped. I was like, "What? It stripped?" I thought the mount stripped, and I looked and the socket had a crack in it.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that what I had in my box was a rack. It's a short set, and I thought they were Snap-on sockets. But I looked closer and it said chrome vanadium on them. They were like no names. I was like, okay, now I don't feel bad. It was a piece
One of those
socket.
One of those snap-off sockets.
It wasn't.
Snap.
And then I remembered, and then I'm looking like, oh, I must have that short set of Snap-on sockets at home. I came home and looked. I'm like, no, they're not in this box. And then I remembered what I did. I traded those into the Snap-on guy, and I bought a set of short 3/8 impacts because I needed those at the time. I didn't need the other ones, so I actually got rid of them.
Yeah, you should never trade them in.
I know.
Well,
I've had guys that trade stuff in, and you know, a couple weeks or months go by, and they're like, "Hey, do you still have that set of sockets that I traded in? Because I want to buy them back now." Yep. And I'm like, sometimes I have them, and sometimes, you know, like I said, name stuff doesn't last very long on the truck. You know,
I'm still waiting for that guy to trade in his battery powered stuff.
Yeah, well, we got a bad deal on that.
All right, let's see.
See, I couldn't be a truck running a truck like that because I'd be taking all the stuff home. I'm like, oh, I could use that.
You bring the truck home.
Same way with a pawn shop. When I had a clothes store at one time, and my buddy's like, man, you should turn this into a pawn shop. I was like, no. Because I wouldn't be able to, I'd take everything home because I'm a gadget guy.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of funny because some of the stuff that gets traded in, I end up keeping because it's either obsolete, you can't find, or it's to complete my set. I just had that done the other day, last week. It was we had a set of, they were called pass-through sockets.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a socket, and see how it fits down into a ratchet.
Those like your Warriors, right? That you're looking for.
Yeah, and see, it's hollowed through. It's through the.
Sears had done that too a number of years ago.
Yeah, so we had these, and this would fit down into a 1/2-inch ratchet, and then it's low profile, and it's through. Well, back in the day, I had bought the metric set, but I had never had a set of standards. And it was funny. A guy was going through his toolbox, and I saw the set of standards.
Yep.
Nice.
And I was like, "Hey, dude, why don't you trade those in on something?"
How would you like a free hat and a T-shirt in exchange?
And he's like, "Well, they don't make them anymore. Or they, I don't have a ratchet. The ratchet broke, and I couldn't get it, so I really can't use these for anything." And I said, "Hey, what? Let's
looking out for you. Don't worry. I'm
yeah. I mean,
what a guy! What a guy!
So let's make a deal. we came down, and now I have a set of standards. So
Right.
you
He's
know,
got a hat and a T-shirt.
a little more than that. I'm a fair guy. Come on, you know.
I know you are. Hey, listen, I'm looking at the flyer now. Brian, tell me about this. A 42-piece, 3/8-inch drive, metric and SAE 6-point ADV standard and deep impact socket set for $299.95.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
That is a great deal.
Yep, that's our ADVS line.
So
It's
what
got
does
all
ADV
the
mean? What does ADV mean?
Well, it's like, you know how you have Snap-on and Blue Point?
Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, it's our secondary line or our, you know, our secondary, but it's lifetime warranty. We actually, our ADVS stuff is awesome stuff. We actually kind of shot ourselves in the foot. My personal opinion, I think we shot ourselves in the foot because we took all of the USA technology on that and put it in that socket for less money. And like I said, it's got the rounded edges. It grabs on the sides, but it's a killer deal. We actually have one. Buy a half-inch stubby. I think if you buy a half-inch stubby, you get a free set of half-inch deep ADVS from 10 to 24.
What, a
and a 27 in there. Huh?
A half-inch stubby impact gun?
Yeah, a half-inch stubby gun for $400. You get $280 worth of sockets for free.
What's this impact wrench hair dryer?
Hey, come on, man! That's for when you gotta look good on Friday night, like you know, somebody, Mr. Hollywood over there.
Pound your hair into submission.
Come on, man! That's it. Look at that.
Look at that guy.
Man, when I grow up, I hope I'm half as cool as you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not him.
I want to be that smooth operator, man. Come on.
Hey, man.
Brian, I'm gonna have to talk to you because I'm gonna need some more tools, man.
I ran out of the page there. I don't see those torque adapters. I'm looking in the new flyer. I don't see them.
They're in there. I saw them.
It's only one page. I got
No. The sales flyer. No, you're looking on the app, right?
I'm on the website. Yeah, but I went into the current flyer.
Yeah, that's on the. That's not the big flyer that we hand out.
Flyer deals, yeah, flyer deals.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with Macco. You can never find what you're looking for because they hide it.
Don't start, Ray. We're happy, and you know it.
I'm looking right now, real time.
We're on the air.
Where's
we're happy. I don't need the black Suburban pulling in my driveway.
So Justin, that was an awesome looking Ford truck that you posted earlier.
Yeah, that one's been a long time coming. That's Dad's. I guess that 78.
Nice.
So, what was that show you went to that was like you just like stood out in the rain for a weekend? What was that all about?
That was St. Agnes. Yeah, this is why I've been gone for like a month. We had St. Agnes. That was 4th of July, and then we've been getting that truck ready, and then our open house, and it was just I don't know what happened to this last month. But yeah, that was up in St. Ignace.
Right.
We their big show up there. It did rain quite a bit on Saturday. But yeah, me and a few of the guys, we met up in, at our one buddy's house, and we cruised up the state along the coast. It took like 6 hours Friday to get up there.
I see you had your buddy with the Falcon with you.
Yep, the Falcon and the Mark 6.
Nice.
That Falcon's pretty cool. We swapped in a 4-cylinder and a 5-speed out of a '88 Mustang.
Very cool. I'm sure it runs and drives real nice.
Now it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we cruised up there. Like I said, Saturday was kind of hit or miss on the weather, and But by the time the show got done, we hopped in the car and cruised around the town.
Right.
A lot of fun.
Nice. Also a lot of fun. The Matco whiskey set. That looks good.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. What year is your Porsche?
73, I believe. It's a 72 or 73. I think it's.
That means it's been too long since you worked on it. If you have to guess the year.
Sound like Brian.
Well, no, it's also because I got the Dodge truck, and the Dodge truck I think is a 72.
So I seen one pass me the other day, and it was clean. It was a beautiful car.
A 914.
I found it. It's a 73.
Yeah.
I found the title.
Yeah, it was a convertible Yeah, it's beautiful. I can almost bet the guy bought it new.
Was it a full convertible or target top?
Full convertible.
He must have had that done. They came target top.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think in Germany there's supposedly one or two that were hard top, like that were completely. I think the one that's in the museum, the one that has a flat 8, I think is a hard top, and then there's another one I seen a car show, but like online. I wasn't at the car show, and it was a hard top, but I can't remember if the guy fabricated and made it a hard top or if it came that way. But it those like really don't exist. They're all Targas.
Okay, learned something new.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this one was clean, boy. I was like, wow.
Yeah, they're when they're done up, they're really nice.
It's just so small, man. I'd be scared to drive it. I'm big and it's small. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty small. They'll zip around. They'll zip around. They're fun in the corners. I'll tell you that for sure. I used to go up in the middle of the night up the mountain, and I'd go to the top and it there's not really any power, so it was a pain going up, but coming down it was fun. You know, coming into them curves, getting in the gears, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a. What was that? Oh, take care, Jim.
Okay, Jim. Have a good night.
Yeah, but it's a 73. My Dodge truck is a 72. That's why I get it confused, because they're 1 year apart.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna pull up a picture. I don't know if you guys seen it. Hold on a sec.
Speaking of rain, if you can kind of see it. I got the fence up.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fence.
With the help with a lot of help from my son.
Good. Good.
We were, well, I say we. He was digging up the old posts, and yeah, there it's a little bit better.
It was like that, Lewis.
Yeah, yep. But it was a full convertible. It was really nice.
But yeah, he was digging up the old. We were trying to get the old concrete and old posts that had rotted out, and on the one spot we ran into clay. Oh, that clay was a pain. It was a pain to dig.
Yeah.
But the new posts I put in are 2x2 steel. So
are they nice ones?
They're not going to be coming up anytime soon.
Fellas, I got to put the little boy to bed.
All right, homie. Thanks.
All right, see you.
All right, Terry.
Same,
It's
man.
good seeing you.
We haven't seen you this whole time, and now you're bailing?
I got to bail. But I'll be back next week, though.
Busy guy.
Because I'll be back next week for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Watch out. There's going to be a lot more videos posted.
All right.
Definitely. Take care. Be safe.
All right, Terry.
Take care, everyone. All right, Parker. Let's do this, buddy.
Brian, is that the August or July flyer?
Which one?
The one that you're talking about.
It's this one right here.
What's the date? Is it dated July or August?
It's 7/27 to 8/18.
Because I'm looking online. I'm finding all these flyers from 2013, 2011. It's like, no, I want the current one.
Yeah.
They don't put it up.
This is the one we're handing out on the truck or start. This one starts really next week, but I hand them out a week early so that I can get an idea what to order.
Monthly flyer 8. Yeah, they don't post it. Catalogs and flyers.
And these are I know it's not a really good picture. But these guys here, these are pretty nice because let's see if we can get a good picture. Where is it? In the black box.
Uh-huh.
Those fit into your screw gun, but they're 6 inches long and they have a swivel head on them socket.
Oh,
they're really nice. They go into your screw gun.
so they're obviously 1/4 inch.
Yeah, 1/4 inch basically. But I use those a lot when I'm doing stuff on the truck because it gives you enough distance. Well, we'll have to talk later, but I had to be careful what I say. I've been told that I've been listened to. So
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
listen to you all the time.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really surprised because you shouldn't because I don't know anything. I just drive around in a tool truck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a thing here. All right, let's see. I don't know if you guys seen this. Did it come up?
It's
Those-
your
your
face.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
My grandson.
yeah.
I bought this Bentley, so I'm giving it to my grandson because I can't fit in it.
Yeah, I saw that
Call
before.
my
on,
mom.
yeah.
You see what we doing, baby.
Yeah.
I had Keith go over and stripe it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So we can't have little Day running around the neighborhood looking normal. So we had to
No.
go fly with his Bentley. He got
Yeah,
gold wing
yeah.
doors. Check them out.
Can you guys hear the audio?
Yeah.
All right, so wish Day a happy birthday because we're giving it to him tonight or Saturday on his birthday party. All right, peace.
Yeah, so
Did
I had
you-
to hook him up.
Did you give it to him already? Or is
No,
that this
Saturday
coming
is his
Saturday?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Keith came over, striped it up for me, and did a great job. I'm having to do the bus too, probably in a couple of weeks.
A little bit of a bigger job.
Yeah. So run down the side is all.
Here's a 914. It's got like 911 fender
That's
flares.
a sharp looking car. Yeah.
And then
Nice.
there's this one, I think they're in England. They built, I saw this video, and they took out the pop-up lights, and right here on the corners, they widened out the fenders and made the what would be the turn signal on the regular into headlights, projector beams.
I can't say that I like that as much.
I've seen that where they they take those lights out and put them down on the lower end.
There's what it normally looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that better.
I do too.
Me personally, I kind of honestly, I kind of want to do lights like that.
Oh, new school.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Basically, the angle I want to go is kind of a, I guess you'd kind of call it resto mod, but I want to go like, kind of like if they continued to make it and how it would look, kind of a little updated, but not too wildly updated. Now that other car, the one that they did in England, I guess they're building them, and they've widened them out a little bit, from what I caught off the video, and then they put a Boxster drivetrain in it, the transaxle and
That's good.
transaxle and motor. And
Yeah.
again, those cars are so light. You don't like. I could just imagine with the Boxster setup. I mean, that thing's probably screaming.
And that's why people said to me, Fro, hey, when are you going to drop an LS in your Fiat? I was like, what? I said, dude, I think an Ecotec would be great in that car.
Yeah.
An Ecotec forward and supercharged would be more than enough.
Yeah.
It weighs like 2,300 pounds.
Yeah, if you were gonna do something like that, I would go with the Ecotec. I would go with the 4-cylinder, or go with go with something Japanese, Toyota or something.
Or what I always thought was like an aluminum Buick V6. That'd be good, and it fits. Because I got pictures of guys putting them in there, and they do fit pretty nice.
Yeah, because when you get in, well, I mean, like I said, it's the few cars that I see up here at our car show where like you said, they take a Miata, and of course they cram a V8 in it or whatever.
Yeah,
and sometimes it almost makes it not fun to drive because you're kind of holding on.
Right.
I mean, instead of just zipping along. I know that sounds kind of weird, but
no, there was a guy here at a cruise night a few years ago, and he took a Corvair. He put it on some other chassis because it was riding kind of high, and it had a big block Chevy in the back. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Have you seen the smart cars with the Hayabusa motors in them?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah, things run.
Yeah.
Well, we have 2 or 3. I'll have to, if I pay. I mean, we have 2 or 3 of those 914s that people put electric motors. They convert them over to electric.
Yeah, I seen one online.
There's a guy. I don't know where he's out of. I don't know if it's in England or not, but he's doing. He's modernizing or bringing the 928 up to date, and doing stuff, and those are really nice looking. Like I said, he even widens them out a little more and has a newer drivetrain, and
you said it's
lights.
You said it's a video you seen?
Yeah, I've followed. I mean, I haven't followed him, but I've seen him. I've come across him on Instagram. It's 928 something, and I've seen a couple of his videos. If I find it next time, I'll send it to you, Coach, because it's really interesting.
I'd love
and
to
actually, I gave a lot of guys a hard time with 928s because I called them Nazi Corvettes. And. I pissed a lot of people off, but I do have to say, if I had to drive 50, 75 miles back and forth to work, and I had a little bit of the countryside and some open road, man, that's a killer car to drive, dude. I mean, that 928, but again, that guy that's taking them and modernizing and bringing them up to, newer specs. It's kind of like the,
is he putting like a Cayenne motor in it?
I don't know what he's using. I don't know if he's still using the same, because they were all, well, it depends on what year, but basically a 5-liter. But he's done a lot of work and reshaped the body a little bit. I'll have to see if I can find. We have a couple of those running around on the 944s.
So this is Brian. This is Brian's son. He's putting LS in it. It's a 5.3.
Yeah. We have a handful of those running around here. I've worked on a few of them.
Have you driven one?
That's one of my favorite Porsches. I wouldn't mind getting one of those.
Oh yeah, I would love to have something like that. That would be fun.
Yeah, those cars from the factory are. They're balanced 51-49%. Those cars are very balanced.
Yeah.
Those are really nice cars. Yeah.
If I had it to do over again, my first car in high school was my 82 Camaro Z28, which I love. I don't regret, but I would take the 944 over it.
Yeah. I had one for a short time, and those are really balanced cars.
Yeah.
Those are.
I wonder how it's going to run with the
unlike
LS.
The individuals who own them.
Huh?
Unlike the individuals that own them.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's very true. But we're being nice still. So.
Hey, these sockets, are those impact sockets laser engraved with the size on them?
The ADVS.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is it says like ADV, Matco, and then some numbers EP. They're showing that side.
Here's a 14.
Oh, beautiful.
and see that's
Yeah.
ADVS.
Got it.
That's
Holy
All right, guys, I gotta jump shit.
All right, Lewis.
Hey,
We're
man.
gonna watch TV.
Hey, real quick, Lewis,
Yeah.
on those 914s, I seen one here in town that somebody stuffed a V8, Chevy V8 in it.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
how'd
crazy.
it run pretty good.
The motor ran fine. I don't know that I'd want it in that car.
Yeah,
I mean, he took off. He was, like I said, it doesn't take much, and you don't need to put a lot of horsepower because they're so light. I mean, with a low horsepower V8, that with the torque, that thing is it's like a rocket. I mean, he tore out of there, and I was like, yeah, I think that's too much for me. In fact, at the time, that's what I was thinking of doing, and I was like, yeah, you just cured me of that problem.
That's
I
like
think a little smaller.
Right.
That's like my Scout, because it had a 4-cylinder in it, and of course, the guy that I bought the Scout from, he had stuck a 390. What was a 392 V8? It was like old school bus motor that was in it. I think it's 392. And I tell you, you hit the gas on that. And the funny part was it had a Torque Flight 727 manual. They took the manual out and put the automatic in it. And it never had passing gear. It didn't have passing gear in it. And of course, I went up to the junkyard, went through the Chrysler side, and grabbed every piece of linkage and joint for to hook it all up, and made a linkage so I'd have kick down. And the first time I went out and nailed it, the torque from the motor threw the truck into the next lane. So it was a hell of a ride holding on to that thing. Just because, like I said, it was an interesting vehicle to drive with all that. It didn't have tons of horsepower, but it had tons of torque, and it like I said, it hopped around. So,
I bet.
Great.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, guys. Let's see you next week. I think Carl Anthony's going to come on next week. Hang out with us.
Right on.
Perfect, because I have him on my show on Sunday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him today, so he said next week.
All right, good.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So everybody, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can get our numbers up, and go buy a hat so I can eat.
Yeah.
And I'll see you guys next week.
All right, Lewis.
I'll see you, man.
All right, take care.
Right.
Be safe. Have a good week.
All right, you too.
Okay. All right. So there's nothing on TV to watch. So I guess we'll sign off here, and we'll talk amongst ourselves.
We'll just have to talk instead of watching TV.
So I know. Well, you're a minute behind. So yeah, for Lewis Lee, Ray Guarino, Matt Command Brian, Coach Isaac, Justin Slingshot. We'll be back next week with Carl Anthony, who I will have on Motormouth Radio this coming Sunday. So you can maybe get a preemption of what's going on. Let me save this, and I'm sure we'll be cross-promoting both of them. So that's it. All right, Bill. See you later. All right, let me sign that off.